So in the previous video lecture, we have discussed about the filter circuit, and one of the filter circuit we have discussed that is an inductor filter. In case of the inductor filter, we have seen that the ripple factor is given as RL divided by 133 into L. And here, if this frequency is a 50 Hz, but if the frequency is 60 Hz, then it is given as RL divided by 1600 into L. Correct? And here in both the case, you can see that the ripple factor is proportional to the RL. And RL means what? It is proportional to 1 upon a IDC. So here from this relation, we can say that if the load current or the DC current is large, then only the ripple factor will be low. Otherwise, for the lower value of the DC current, the ripple factor is going to increase. It means that the inductor filter is not used for a higher current, not used for a lower current capacity of the power supply. The L filter is not suitable for lower current capacity of power supply. But in the laboratory or in most of the gadgets, if we see, if we are using a power supply, then we don't require a very large value of the current. Our requirement of the current is hardly a 100 milliampere, 200 milliampere, or maximum it is a 500 milliampere. So in that case, this kind of the filter is not used. So here for the lower current capacity of the power supply, we have another type of the filter which is known as a capacitor filter. Now let us see what is the capacitor filter, and by introducing a capacitor in a rectifier circuit, how we can reduce the ripple factor. So you can see the circuit diagram of a full wave rectifier with the capacitor filter. You can see this is the output of a full wave rectifier, and here we have a load resistance RL. Now whatever the output terminal is there, across the output terminal we are connecting a capacitor. This capacitor is connected in parallel with the load resistance RL. If you have seen that inductor, it was connected in series with the RL like this, but here the capacitor is connected in parallel with the RL. Then already we know that how the capacitor is working as a filter, and already you know that the reactance of the capacitor, this reactance of the capacitor is given as 1 upon 2 pi Xc, and we know that for DC, the frequency f is 0, so the reactance of the capacitor is going to be infinite. This indicates that for DC current, the capacitor will work as an open circuit. And for AC, the frequency is going to be a 50 Hz. Then in that case, we can select the value of this capacitor such a way that this reactance comes out to be a 1 ohm. Means it is a very small resistance. So for AC, it will work as a short circuit. Here you can say for DC, it is working as a open circuit, and for AC, it is working as a short circuit. So the AC current can easily pass through this capacitor, and the DC current cannot pass through the capacitor. Okay. So here in the output of the full wave rectifier at this point, we have a AC current as well as a DC current. Already you know that the output of the full wave rectifier consists of a AC and DC. So whatever the AC component is there, for this AC component, the capacitor is offered a very small resistance. So this AC current will pass through this capacitor. This AC current will easily pass through this capacitor. And whatever the DC component is there, for this DC, the capacitor will behave like a open circuit. So this DC current cannot pass, and therefore it will pass through the load resistance RL. So AC current is going to be bypassed through this capacitor, and the DC current is going to be passed through the load resistance RL, and as a result here we will get a DC output voltage. So in this way AC and the DC component is going to be separated out through a capacitor by selecting a proper value of the capacitor. Now actually we will see how this is going to happen. So here basically the charging and the discharging of the capacitor is taking place. Now for this we will see the waveform of a full wave rectifier. So look at this waveform. Already you can see that between the 0 to pi, the diode D1 will be in a forward bias. Diode D1 will be in a forward bias. Then the D2 will be in reverse bias. Then for the negative half cycle, the D2 will be in forward bias and the D1 will be in a reverse bias. So in this way, alternately the diode D1 and D2 is going to be forward bias, and we have this a output voltage across the full wave rectifier. So whatever the output waveform is there, at this point we have this kind of the voltage. Okay, now if you see what is going to happen during the time period of 0 to pi. So at that time we have this upper side of the transformer is for a positive cycle, and here we have a negative cycle. Due to this positive cycle, the diode is in a forward bias and this is in a reverse bias. It is working as a open circuit. So now due to this positive cycle, here the diode is D1 is in forward bias, so the current will flow like this and it is going to charge the capacitor. Remember, during this positive cycle, D1 is in forward bias and it is going to charge the capacitor, so the voltage across the capacitor is go on increasing. If we look at this waveform, then this voltage is increasing in this way. Here, due to this D1, the capacitor is going to charge like this. So the voltage is increased up to a volt Vm. So when this capacitor is going to charge up to Vm. Now at the input also the maximum voltage in the secondary is also a Vm voltage. So here if we see that the potential on the anode and the potential on the cathode, they are at the same potential. Here also the Vm voltage is present. Here also the Vm voltage is present because the capacitor is charged up to Vm. So the potential difference across the anode and cathode of the diode is going to be a 0 here. And due to this, there will not be any flow because the potential difference is 0. So the current will be also 0. So as a result, this diode will be now it will be in a reverse bias. Remember, here this will go to the reverse bias, working as a open circuit. Now here you can see the D1 is in a reverse bias D2 is also in a reverse bias. So the transformer itself is cut off from the capacitor. Now this capacitor is only connected in parallel with the RL. So whatever the charge is present on the capacitor, it is going to be discharged through the load resistance RL. So when it will be discharged, there is a flow of the current in the RL, and that current is nothing but it is my DC current. So here if we see this waveform, the capacitor is charged up to Vm voltage, and then it will be discharged like this. So at this point, the voltage is present across the capacitor. But the meanwhile, the diode D2 comes out to be in a forward bias, and this comes out to be in a reverse bias. Here this is going to be a positive and this is going to be a negative. So due to this, the flow of the current through the diode D2 will be like this. Diode D2 is in forward bias, and again it is going to charge the capacitor. So here this capacitor will charge like this, and it will be charged up to a maximum value. So when again it is charged up to a maximum value, voltage at this point is also a maximum value, that is a Vm. So the D2 will be again go to the reverse bias. D1 is already in a reverse bias, so now this will work as a open circuit. So the transformer is cut out from the filter circuit, and again this capacitor will be discharged through the load resistance RL. So when it is going to be discharged, then the voltage across the capacitor is decreased in this manner. Again, during this positive cycle, the capacitor will be charged up to Vm, and then it is going to discharge like this. So here you can see that when this capacitor is connected across the load resistance RL, then the charging and the discharging of the capacitor is taking place. So ultimately, if we see this waveform, then the waveform will be like this. Here the charging, then the discharging, again the charging, discharging, and the discharging of the capacitor is taking place, and this is my maximum voltage Vm. Correct? So now here you can see that when the capacitor was not introduced, at that time the output voltage goes to maximum and then it comes back to the zero. Again it is increasing to Vm and then it is going to 0. So there is a variation from Vm to 0. So AC component is large. But here if we see that this output voltage is going to be a maximum and then it is not going to 0, but it has got some minimum value. Again it goes to the maximum value and then it will come back to a minimum value. So the variation in the output voltage of the capacitor is only this much. So this is my ripple voltage. It is my AC component, remember, which is not going to be filtered out. And here it is represented as VR peak to peak. Again I repeat that when we introduce a capacitor, then the variation in the output voltage is Vm to some minimum level. Again it is go to the Vm voltage and then it come back for the some minimum voltage. So this is a variation in the output voltage. And this variation is nothing but it is a ripple voltage which is not filtered by the AC component, not filtered by the capacitor filter. And if we take the average of this, remember, if we take the average of this ripple, then it is my a DC voltage, VDC voltage. Correct? So here we know that the ripple factor is given as V dash RMS by VDC. And now in this waveform, you can see that the VRMS is decreased, but the VDC is increased. So as a result, the ripple factor is decreasing. So in this way, by introducing a capacitor, we can reduce the ripple factor. Now we want to find out what is the relation between the capacitor and the ripple factor here. Capacitor and the ripple factor. So if we know the relation, then we can select the proper value of the capacitor to reduce the ripple factor. Correct? Okay. Now in this diagram, you can see that the charging period is this much. We call this as a T1. And the discharge period is this much, that is the T2. Correct? And if we take a T1 plus T2, then it will be a T by 2. Because here whatever the waveform is there, this output waveform is a T by 2 periodic cycle, because for the positive half cycle and the negative half cycle, we have this output voltage. Half cycle means the periodic time is T by 2. So during this time period of T1 and T2, the total time period is a T by 2. Correct? So now let us see the mathematics to find out the ripple factor. Okay. So here the T1 is the charging time period and the T2 is the discharge time period. So we can write that the T1 plus T2 is equal to T by 2. Now from this figure, it is very clear that the charging time period is very low compared to the discharge time period. So T1 is too much less than T2. And therefore, what we can do that here in this expression, that T1 plus T2, instead of that, now we can write that T2 is equal to T by 2. And what is the relation between the T and the frequency? So T is equal to 1 upon F. So here we can write 1 upon 2F. That the discharge time period we can represent as 1 upon 2F. Okay, now we will write the expression for the charging and the discharging. Okay, so if I want to write that how much amount of the charge is going to be discharged, and for that we have this relation, and when the capacitor is discharged, it produces the current AIDC. So what is the relation between the charge and the current? So we know that the Q is equal to IDI into time. The basic definition of the current means I is equal to Q by T. So from this we can write the Q discharge. So Q discharge will be equal to, here you should remember that the relation between the charge and the current. So I can write the Q discharge is equal to, when the capacitor is discharged, it produces a DC current. And how much time it takes for the discharge? That you can see that this is the time period, this is the time period. And this time period is nothing but it is a T2. So here I can write IDC into T2. Correct? Let us say this is the equation number 2. Now how much charge is present on the capacitor? And for that we have basic relation, that is the C is equal to Q by V, or you can say the Q is equal to C into V. We can use this formula for how much charge is present on the plate of the capacitor. So if we see, then the Q charge is equal to C into VR peak to peak. What is V? V is the voltage drop across the capacitor. Remember. So here if we see, the voltage across the capacitor is VR peak to peak. Means this voltage is present across the plate of the capacitor, which is not filtered out. So therefore here we use this VR peak to peak. So this is the amount of the charge which is present across the capacitor. Now according to conservation law of the charge, already we know that the total charge is going to remain constant. It means whatever the charge will be present on the plate of the capacitor, only that much amount of the charge is going to be discharged. Correct? So here we can write the Q charge will be equal to Q discharge. Means the C into VR peak to peak equal to IDC into T2. Now at this stage you should know that what we are going to do. We want to find out a ripple factor. And ripple factor is what? It is a ratio of a RMS value of the AC component to the DC component. So here in this expression, that VR peak to peak is my AC component. Correct? And then I have to find out the RMS value of this. So here we can write that the VR peak to peak equal to IDC into T2 divided by C. This is my AC component, remember. Now, what is T2? Already we know that from this equation, that is given by A1 upon 2F. So here we have this relation IDC upon A2FC. From this equation number 1. IDC upon 2FC. Okay, now we have to see what is the RMS. Basically, we know that if we have a kind of a sine wave, if we have the sine wave, then in this case, that the Vrms is given as Vm divided by root 2. But here you can see that our waveform is not a sine wave. It is a kind of a triangle wave like this. So RMS value will not be a Vm divided by root 2. Remember that for this kind of a triangle wave, that mathematically if we calculate, then it is given as Vrms equal to Vm divided by root 3. In the next semester, you will learn how to get the value of a RMS for the triangle wave. But you should know it is Vm divided by root 3. For a different shape of the signal, RMS value is different. If we have the square wave, in that case the RMS value will be equal to a peak value, that is a Vm. Correct? So here if I want to find out the RMS value of this VR peak to peak, then first of all I have to convert into a peak value, because here we have Vm. Means for that we have to divide by 2, and then we divide by root 3. That V dash RMS is equal to VR peak to peak divided by 2. So that will give you the peak value Vp, remember. And then I will divide by root 3, will give you the RMS value. And therefore, what is my VR peak to peak? It is a IDC upon 2FC. So 2 into 2 is 4 root 3 FC. Now we want a term of a VDC. So from this IDC, already you will get is that the IDC is nothing but it is a VDC by RL. So my V dash RMS is equal to VDC upon 4 root 3 FRL into C. So ultimately, the ripple factor is a ratio of V dash RMS by VDC, and this is equal to 1 upon 4 root 3 FRL into C. So this is a very important formula that you should remember, that the ripple factor is given as 1 upon 4 root 3 FRL C. So this indicates that the ripple factor is inversely proportional to the capacitor. Means as we increase the value of capacitor, ripple factor will decrease. Second thing, that the ripple factor is also inversely proportional to load resistance RL, and it is also proportional to the IDC, because that RL will increase, IDC will decrease, RL will decrease, IDC is increasing. So ultimately the ripple factor is proportional to the IDC. So here this indicates that if the IDC is small, then the ripple factor will be also a small. Here if we plot the graph, if you plot the graph for a IDC against the ripple factor, then the DC current will increase, the ripple factor will also increase. It means that if we have a smaller value of the current, then the ripple factor is low. Here we have a lower value. And for the higher value of the current, ripple factor is increasing. And therefore, this capacitor filter is not suitable for the higher current capacity of the power supply. This filter is used for lower current capacity of a power supply. Means if you are making a adapter of a 6 volt, 12 volt, then the capacity of this adapter, current capacity of this adapter will be hardly 100 milliampere or 200 milliampere. Maximum it will be a 500 milliampere. So whatever the adapters are used for the gadgets, then the current capacity is less than 1 ampere. And in that case, this kind of the filters are widely used. So this filter is very popular because in most of the gadgets we require the smaller value of the DC current. Now let us see that by introducing a capacitor, that what will be the output DC voltage. Okay, now let us calculate the output voltage of a capacitor filter. So, third one is a DC output voltage, that is a VDC. Now to calculate this DC output voltage, you have to concentrate on this waveform. That you can see that across the capacitor, the maximum voltage is Vm, and here it is going to decrease, again increase and decrease. So this voltage is called a ripple voltage, and the average of this ripple voltage is nothing but it is my DC output voltage. Correct? So if I want to write what is the DC output voltage, then this voltage is equal to, we can write the Vm voltage, that is my maximum voltage. From this maximum voltage, I have to subtract this much amount of the voltage, and that voltage is nothing but it is VR peak to peak divided by 2. So that VDC voltage is equal to, we can write a Vm minus VR peak to peak divided by 2. Now in a theory, already we have calculated the expression for a VR peak to peak, and it is given as, you can see the previous theory, that IDC by 2FC is there. So my DC output voltage will be equal to Vm minus IDC upon 4FC. Now what is IDC? It is a VDC by RL. So Vm minus VDC by 4F RL into C. Here we have a VDC term on a left hand side and the VDC term on a right hand side. So if we combine this both the term, then you will get the VDC into 1 plus 1 upon 4F RL into C, and that is equal to Vm. So finally the DC output voltage of the filter is given as Vm divided by 1 upon 1 plus 4F RLC. So this is the expression for a DC output voltage of a capacitor filter. Remember that this expression is useful for the designing of a capacitor filter. This expression as well as the ripple factor, it is 1 upon 4 root 3 FRL into C. We can use this two expression. We can use these two expressions for designing a capacitor filter. Now from this expression you can calculate the value of the capacitor, and from this expression you can calculate what is the required transformer voltage, and that is the designing of the filter circuit. So you should remember that this capacitor filter is used only for the lower current capacity of the power supply. It is effective for the lower value of the load current. But for the higher value of the load current, the ripple factor is increasing, and that's why it is not used.